Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. I didn't even say that in order. That's how ill I am. That's how sick I am. And that's the effect of Liverpool Football Club. Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are in the world listening to a podcast, audio podcast form, or YouTube, you're very, very welcome to the Red Room. The room where Liverpool fans get together once a week and just talk Liverpool, because that's what we do. Whether we're winning, whether we're losing, whether we're angry, whether we're sad, we get together in a virtual Red Room. As you can see, I have familiar faces and a debutant who was so good last week that we had to get her back. Lola's back in the building. And we have another debutant today. We have Michael in the building. Michael, you are very, very welcome to the Red Room. How are you, my friend?
I'm very good, Grizz. Thank you very much. Thank you for the invite. Nice to see everybody. I'm sure we'll have loads to talk about.
We have indeed, or have we got loads to talk about? That's the question. Mo, you okay, Mo? Any planned visits to Anfield?
I went to Bournemouth. Got a ticket for tomorrow. Not sure if I can go yet.
You're not going to see Liverpool versus Qarabag. Unbelievable.
I had to give my ticket away, I'm afraid.
Unbelievable. What a game, and you're going to miss out on Liverpool versus Qarabag. What's getting me the most is I can't get to see Endo in centre-back. That's what I think that's hitting me the most. That's gonna hurt you. You are missing out on Endo partnering Virgil. Well, we'll get into the team predictions and what we think may happen, may not happen. Lola, your debut was magnificent. Hope the rest of your Red Room career is more successful. How are you? How's your week been?
I'm good, Grizz. I'm feeling the pressure. You've given me such a big hype up after my debut. I don't know if I can follow it. I'm nervous.
I don't burden people with pressure that I know that can't take it. So I know you can take it. So that's why I'm burdening you with the pressure. When you are a regular on Sky Sports, like I've noticed you are, it comes with great responsibility. So us mere mortals expect great things from you. But yeah, doing a fantastic job, by the way.
Thank you. I'll continue to fight the good fight against Mr. Joey Barton.
You do you. And of course, we have the amazing Keith Cross in the building, aka Goalmouth. Keith, hope you're doing very well. I see you on a daily basis on Twitter fighting off the toxic negativity of Liverpool fans. But I sense you're running out. I sense you're being overran. Are you?
Do you know what? Yeah, I've never known a goal to cause physical pain. Do you know what? Yeah, that third goal caused physical pain. That for me felt like, when Kobe Mainoo scored the winner at Old Trafford when we got knocked out the FA Cup. It was that feeling of just like physical pain. So Grizz, to answer your question, no, a lot of pain. But, at the end of the day, debates have got to be had. X is a fantastic platform and I love it. Love having these conversations. And everyone, as I said, I've always maintained here that I don't really disagree with people's reasons for feeling and saying the things they do. I think sometimes it crosses the line, but I'm not the police. But, I still think that tomorrow's competition is the only thing left that's really keeping me top reading. I think once we crash out the Champions League, Grizz, I'll be on holiday. See you in for pre-season. Put it that way.
People, you're very welcome. Leave your comments. We try to get through as many as we can. If I find any interesting questions and points, we don't really. What do you mean we don't really? We don't condone any abuse or anything of my panel, except me. You can abuse me, but if anyone abuses my panel, then you will be blocked forever and ever and ever. We have some comments from some people, and DBQN4NW says, sack him now. What a great start. What a great start to the show. Bob says, where is Hughes? We'll ask all these questions. Kane Fan says, big up, Grizz. Just got my little lad sorted for school tomorrow. Hope you're doing well, mate. I'm doing okay. I'm not being too great. And then on top of that, Liverpool have made me iller. And I refuse to shave. And I've been living like a hermit, basically, for the last week, 10 days. And until we win a game, I said I'm not going to shave. And tomorrow we play Qarabag. And if we don't win tomorrow, oh my God. Oh my God. Anyway, listen, we've got so much to get through. Review of the last game, preview of tomorrow's game, and just general outlook. I'll start with you, Lola. Another week has gone by. We saw the last time we all spoke was after the Marseille game, and everything was a little bit more rosier. Probably one of the better performances of the season. And then Bournemouth happened. How did you feel?
I'm just so disappointed because I wasn't expecting much from Marseille. I mean, we all spoke about this. I think Mo was predicting we were going to get beat. And we knew that was going to be a tough game. We knew that a De Zerbi team were going to come out all guns blazing. They had who shall not be named lining up on the right wing. There was danger all over that team. And to go there and to win the game so comprehensively and put in what was, in lots of ways, our most complete performance of the season, I came out of it thinking, you know what? There's something here. The new signings starting to gel, a way of playing that made sense, going to a difficult away, making it look, relatively straightforward. And I thought going to Bournemouth would suit us. I thought we knew exactly what to expect. They're going to come out, they're going to attack us. There's going to be space for us to play in. And yeah, I mean, there's no other word for it. I'm just so disappointed. I have half a theory, and I'm really curious what you guys think about this, that if you set out at the beginning of the season with your goal as to win the Premier League and you end up having to adjust your ambitions because you're not in the title race anymore, how up for a top 4 fight can you be? I think we've seen it in previous seasons where the team has just looked demotivated. And I think when you contrast our Premier League performances to the Champions League performances, maybe that's coming into play. But I wonder what you guys think of that.
I completely agree with you. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think we just touched on it a little bit in the last show where I said, my belief, these players, they want the Champions League.
Yeah.
Szoboszlai wants the Champions League. Kirkes wants Champions League because it's in Hungary. Mo wants the Champions League. Virgil, Alisson, because this is very well maybe their last hurrah. I 1000% believe that the fight, because it is that required fight to win that type of game. And when we get dragged into that type of game in the Premier League, if we get dragged into that type of game in the Premier League, in any other games, it's not going to happen every time, but when it does happen, we will lose it because the fight is for the Champions League now. I agree with you, 100%.
I'm going to get Mo's opinion on that and Michael's. Alex, watching from Zambia, you're very, very welcome. Thank you very much. Trevor says, guys, I've watched the Reds for 52 years and I can safely say that this is as worried about the style of football I've ever been. Wow. I was having this conversation. Michael, I'm going to come to you. Sorry.
Yeah.
I want to get your opinion on Lola's theory or thinking.
No, I think Lola's absolutely spot on, and I agree with Chris. I think it's obvious. It feels like there are two teams. There's a team that go out and play in the Champions League, and it look like they want to win. They've got a clear plan, and I know lots of people will say it's because of the low block and the rest of it, but they've got a spring in their step. They seem to know what they're doing, and they're prepared to attack. That's not what we saw on Saturday. And I think for me on Saturday, I think the disappointment was me myself thinking, I'm not surprised. You're sitting there watching the last 5 minutes, and it's a classic corner, and it's a good old-fashioned stramash, as they say in Scotland, and you're almost like, it's inevitable. I mean, it's
what do they call it in Scotland? What do they call it in Scotland?
A stramash.
A stramash.
A stramash.
Why does it sound Scandinavian and not Scottish at all?
Well, it's cold enough to be Scandinavia. Let me tell you, I could borrow the hat. We can't keep a clean sheet. I was lucky enough to go down even to the pre-season games that were great. Couldn't keep a clean sheet, and it's been that for the whole year. And the only time where we've actually looked, there's been glimpses of Liverpool, is like Lola said, it's been in Europe. And I think that's maybe part of the problem. is that it feels like, well, which Liverpool are going to turn up? And I think that's where that's where we're at.
Mo?
Yes and no. I totally agree. Like, there's two different teams, but part of me likes to think like, surely there's professional pride as well. Like, they're professional people, athletes who get paid a lot of money. But then another part of me thinks World Cup season, maybe some of them are holding back. Do you know what I mean? So I'm torn. Yes, I agree with everyone. Like, but there's also other factors, that may play into it. World Cup season, McAllister's probably held, and McAllister's been bad for a while, but last few games I felt he's been really good.
But Mo, you go to a lot of the games, right? You see it in the flesh. Do you see that in the flesh? Because we see it on TV, right, and can kind of come to our own assumptions based on what we see through a screen. But does it feel different?
You pick up other things in the game, like how the momentum changes, the shifts. That's what you feel in when you're watching it live. And what annoyed me most, a lot of fans with the Bournemouth game, is we fought so hard to get back into it after clumsy mistakes. You would have thought the momentum was with us, but straight away, the first attack, or within a minute, I think Christie just ran through our midfield, and Alisson pulled off a wonderful save. And then if that wasn't a warning sign, they had another chance where Ivan Nilsson missed an open goal, almost like shot wide. So there was warning signs there, and the crowd were like, we were feeling like, hang on, we just equalised here. What's going on? Like, it was strange. And I've always said, like, a few weeks ago, with the boos, there wasn't many in Anfield, but there was, there was some that was enough noticeable. When you lose a home crowd, that's one thing. When you start losing your away crowd, that's another thing. And the first time I felt an away crowd was slightly lost was on a Bournemouth game. People were angry.
Interesting. Keith, you know what Mo was talking about, referring to, and the rest of you guys, in terms of we seem like two different teams. I want to ask you guys, I'm baffled with the levels of fitness, just general fitness of this Liverpool team. Keith, you used to be a prime athlete in your day. Did you notice I said used to be? What's happened? We were one of the most energetic, fit teams. Our stats were through the roof. Some of the best running stats, pressing stats, amongst the Premier League. But in the last 12 to 18 months, I think, and shout out to the people that do the stat shows on Anfield Index, Simon Brundish and the crew, but listening to some of these lads, it seems like we've become one of the worst. How do we explain this?
I think it's the mentality is the first thing. It overrides anything else, in my opinion, in sport. Some of the best athletes, some of the best, physical guys, you're talking about doing like lifts and stuff. I know I compete. I don't compete, but I do like deadlifts and strongman comps, right? And there's a guy, Britain's strongest man, and any time that he goes to a competition, there's always a question mark whether he'll actually just go through with it or not mentally, if he's there or not. And that mentality to like that, the way that you've trained all this time, you've done all this training, heavy training, you've hit the numbers that you need to perform on that particular day. And on that day, you tell yourself that you can't do it. Like, that's the level of mentality. So when I think about running, and I think about running stats and pressing stats and all this, that, and the other, you do that in the good games, right? In the games against the bigger teams, especially look at us at the way we played against Aston Villa, we played against Real Madrid, you know what I mean? The way we played against Arsenal, for those games, in mentality, when it's a bit of a slump because results aren't going your way, that's where you feel your legs. But in other games, when games are slipping away from you and you fought to get back to 2-2, but in the tank, mentally, like, your brain is saying, that's where I need to be, but these are gone because you're just not at, like, collectively, I just don't think they're at that level to get their legs to work in the way that we see them at their prime. That's how I see it when it comes to those stats. I think it's a big, big, big mentality shift. And the thing is it's not a whole game where you see this happen. I think, Mo, you said it yourself. It's the waves of momentum in football can be in patches of 10 to 15 minutes, right? And how you control that wave and then how the game eventually goes will just dictate whether you needed to even run that much, first of all, and whether you needed that mentality to really burst the lung, right? In those type of games. So, yeah, you know, Liverpool have in some instances this season grasped that momentum, but in a lot of other things, particularly in the Premier League, they've just let it slip. And, you know, I just think that as results have not gone their way and that big defeat where 9 losses in 12, I just think stuff like that's very hard to recover in a season in the Premier League, especially in the Premier League. Cup competitions can be won. Anything can happen in the cup competition, but the Premier League, you need that to be able to do everything else. And if you don't have it in tune, you're just not going to get anywhere. And you get punished. You know, we talk about the Super League, whatever. We are in the Super League. Any given day, you will get punished. And Bournemouth proved that on Sunday. Sorry,
Anyone
Can I
else
jump
have
in
any-
there, Keith? Sorry. You know how you're talking about that busting a gut and that mentality? Do you think that's what Slot's trying to get over with the new signings? Because my son and I were lucky enough to go to the Burnley game. And Ekitike in the first half, fantastic. In the second half, he looked absolutely burst.
Yes.
He was almost non-existent. It felt like my 18-year-old son felt he was hiding. And is that what is Slot trying to protect him too much?
I would say so. I think, but at the same time, do we think that someone like Ekitike, that's an interesting question in terms of, was Ekitike the right profile off the ball as much as he is on the ball to be able to counter press in the same way that Darwin Núñez and Luis Diaz were once doing? I'd love to know what their running stats we lost by selling those two players in the first place, you know, for that aggressive running work rate, never hiding, etc., almost to the point of madness sometimes. I do think he protects him in that way. That's why he brings him off after 70 minutes most games. Right?
I think he made a choice, Slot, last season. I mean, we all remember we used to get so many injuries under Klopp because of the intensity, muscle injuries. And then last season, we sailed through the season with very limited injuries. The only big injury I can think of is Alisson, who is liable to pick up an injury, and Konate when I think it was Endrick landed on his knee against Real Madrid, which was just unlucky. But I think Slot made a decision about managing load, and he consciously made training lighter, made the preseason lighter. Consequently, we haven't looked fit all season. Michael, you say about Ekitike, you know, it's kind of acceptable for it to be a problem in what was that? I think that was our second game of the season at Burnley. Yeah. But you know, we're deep into January now, nearly February, and he's gassed on 60 every game. He's got delayed onset muscle soreness and can't start. Like, I'm really frustrated by this because at this point, Kirkes shouldn't be going down with cramp in the 70th minute of every game, and Ekitike should be able to run around for 90 minutes, regardless of load in preseason or whatever. I think they got it wrong. They got it wrong.
Yeah,
I think we have to admit that they did get it wrong, and this is why I tweeted something I could have gone into a bit more deeply, but Twitter's so toxic. I just left it as it is. But ultimately, guys, we all know Slot will pay for the calamitous season, right? Because that's how it works in football. But how we've reached this point is bugging me. I mean, there's so many other aspects to go into. We've spoken to death on this show and all other shows and all other channels and all other platforms about the recruitment, about the players, etc., etc. But I genuinely just thought about this fitness thing. And guys, I'm bemused from such a fit, athletic, gegenpressing, energy, high octane. And it's not just the new players, guys. I understand. Someone said, where is it gone? I can't remember now, so I've lost it. But someone, fact is, Ekitike was not expected to play these many games so far. That was the whole point of Isak and Ekitike. But it's the old guard that don't look for. Kirkes, like bombing up and down for Bournemouth every single game, right? Comes to Liverpool and he has to play 60 minutes only. Frimpong, one of Europe's most amazing attacking wingbacks, suddenly getting hamstring injuries. we have to watch his minutes, getting substituted early before the game finishes. Don't even let me start on McAllister again and Gravenberch. Non-existent. Running power gone from their legs. I don't know how to explain this. Mo, is there any theory that comes to your mind? Is it, like Lola says, his philosophy on football, just to slow everything down? But to slow everything down...
I've got a weird theory, if you want to hear it.
I love your weird theories. I love your weird theories. I love your weird theories.
I think, not from the fitness side of things, but how we're playing as well, it works hand in hand. I think it could be coached out of him. And what I mean by that is he won it with Klopp's team, and like Lola said, we went out of counter, but he didn't change much. What he did change is we went slowly from a pressing team, gegenpress, to a more control. Control was all that we were hearing from Slot.
Yeah.
So I think over a period of time, last year, 18 months that he's been in charge, we've gone from training for the press and being fitness ready for that, so heavy fitness drills all the time, to okay, we don't need to manage that side of things too much because I want control. I want possession. I want technical players. I want to control the game and slow the game down and pass and move. Maybe over a period of time, the physicality, because they're not training hard enough for that part of thing. Keith, you might know this because you train quite a lot. If you don't do something on a regular and you start doing less often, then it's going to get weaker, isn't it? So maybe the physicality side has gone weaker because they're not doing that prep as hard enough. They're doing more stuff on control and other things. So over time, it's kind of been coached out of them.
Keith? I don't think that's a weird theory at all. I think that's one of the better theories, actually.
It is, but then again, I look at the games in the Champions League, and this is where this is really interesting.
That's the rebuttal.
Right, but you're right in terms of like consistently. The thing is, where I think I kind of see where you're coming from. I do think there is a difference in philosophy. There is that 1,000%. You can. It would be interesting to ask Virgil today: is training as intense today as it was under Jurgen Klopp? Would love.
We've all seen those inside Anfield training videos, and they're like throwing the ball to each other and bouncing a tennis ball. And those exercises and rondos are more about control rather than physicality. And you see the odd gym session. Great, everyone does gym sessions. But I remember under the Klopp era, I'm sorry to bring Klopp into it, but Milner would do the fitness test and win it all the time,
Yeah.
And they'll do in mid-season sometimes. Well, I don't really see much of that.
Slot said in the press conference something which really annoyed me, and I wonder if it annoyed you guys.
Oh, really? Something annoyed you? Annoyed the Liverpool fan? Slot said something that's annoyed us? Oh my God.
Well, I usually think I usually like most of what he said. I usually feel angry after a game and then listen to him speak and feel much calmer. But on this occasion, he said that the reason we won, one of the key reasons we won the league is because we went out of Europe early against PSG. And that drove me mad because you're the Liverpool manager. We understand the difficulty of the fixture congestion, but you are expected to go out and challenge for all of the top trophies. So I look at it in the context of this season and in the struggles we're having with fitness, and I'm thinking, what's the approach here? If as the Liverpool manager, you can't reasonably expect us to compete on more than one front. And to that point, when you factor in the summer business, did he think when the transfer window slammed shut on September the 2nd or 1st, whenever it was, that our squad was in a stronger position to compete in the Champions League and Premier League than it was the previous season? And I think the answer is no. And I find that maddening.
I think you've hit on something there, Lola. And same with you, Mo. I'm going to throw this curveball at you. Has he underestimated how difficult it really was to win the Premier League? Because that's all about control. I think you're absolutely right. He's so obsessed with control, which is why we end up walking it, and we have more passes than everybody. We have more possession and talk about goals expected, the rest of it. But when we play in the Champions League, we're against, I don't know what the phrase would be, the elite teams where we have to go for it. Is Slot see them as two completely different things?
I think if I can offer you an answer to that, I think he's underestimated the change of the Premier League. And what I
Yeah,
mean by that, he's
that's
probably
brilliant.
him and Hughes and Edwards, you can throw into that mix as well. They probably
We have
Yeah.
to throw Hughes and
So
Edwards
they-
into every mix.
Yeah, so they probably foresaw a future where the Premier League is all about control, more technical players. Lo and behold, 18 out of 20 Premier League teams now are all about lumping it in the box, corners, set pieces. So physicality, lumps. So we didn't plan for that. And maybe we underestimated that change where, hate to say it, boring Arsenal Arteta planned for that and knew probably the Premier League was changing that way, more of a Sean Dyche league rather than a pretty football league. But maybe we underestimated that side of things. That's why we look good in Europe, because we're more equipped for that kind of football. We don't get bullied as much as in Europe. We don't get faced with corners and set pieces as much in Europe. So I think from a planning perspective, Hughes and Edwards, and from a slot perspective, they got it wrong probably with foreseeing how the Premier League was going.
I think you guys have nailed it. There is a physicality problem for sure. Moving on from the physical side of the conversation about sort of our fitness levels and everything else. Keith is spot on. But I don't know, guys. You tell me. I don't know a Premier League winning team that didn't have 8 out of the 11 6-foot+ players. Like, we can talk about every Premier League team, and I'll be intrigued to know if there's ever been a Premier League team winning lineup of, I'd say, minimum 7 6-footers. Can you think on top of your head? Even though we know the Leicester team, we know all Chelsea's team. You will always have 1 or 2 diminutive, short playmakers, quick, nippy types, maximum 3. Otherwise, everyone else is 6 foot these days. You look through our team as well sometimes, and I think, like, how many times have we discussed that Gakpo is the softest 6'4" person I've ever seen in my life? Like, why are you tall?
And Gravenberch.
Gravenberch, the aggression.
The lack of aggression.
It's getting better sometimes I see it. I think you have got it in you, but I need to see it more. Keith, the amount of times I've been fed up and like absolutely losing the plot with how we get bullied. It's actually embarrassing how we get bullied. It's the criticism that I used to throw at Arsenal under Wenger. Do you remember? Under Wenger, go and bully them and you'll win. Doesn't matter how many technical Oswalds they've got. Go and bully Arsenal like Allardyce used to, like, you know, all the other managers used to. This is what they're doing to us. You don't need a tactical master plan to beat Liverpool these days. That's so embarrassing, Keith.
Yeah, it's tough to take. But I think this is the iteration of this version of Liverpool. Like, I don't think, personally speaking, when we're talking about squad building and all that kind of stuff, I think that we built a very, very, very offensive squad over the last 3 years. I've never really felt this iteration of Liverpool has ever been that great defensively. Personally, I don't think even last season, the Premier League season, we weren't turning around and saying, racking up defensive numbers the same way that we did when we romped to the league in 1920. Like, that was a defensive, solid beast of a machine, technical and all sorts. Our team, we've got, I think Dominic Szoboszlai is on about 6 goals, 6 assists this season, 12. Well, I think Gravenberch is on about, 7, 8 goal contributions, McAllister a couple. We've got a very, very offensive and attacking midfield in general. Midfield was built on attacking midfielders, really. So when you talk about that kind of doggedness and fight and it's sniffing the danger and all those kind of words you use when you're thinking about these defensive players.
It's defense first, Steve. Keith,
Yeah,
I challenge all of you.
When was the last time we bought a player?
I challenge all of you to name me the Liverpool players in the current squad and rota that think defense first. I challenge you to name more than 2. Honestly, the ones that come to my head straight away is Konate and Robertson. No one else in the team, and I include Virgil van Dijk in that. They think progression, forward, invent, create. Every single one of them. Endo, if you want to count Endo, Bless Endo, I don't count him, and that's so rude of me. But okay, because all about Lola, you laugh, and Mo, you laugh, but only because our manager doesn't count him. So why should I count him when our manager and coach doesn't? You guys are, I'm being real. Robertson and Konate are the only ones, and if I've missed out on anyone, let me know, that think danger, possible, pessimists, things could go wrong here, we need to defend. Only 2 in the squad.
No, I think you're right, and I think that the set piece thing, the fact that we've conceded the identical scrappy long throw in goal multiple times at even the same period in games this season is shocking. But I actually don't think it's about height and physicality, because Konate and Van Dijk easily on the numbers rank as some of the most aerially dominant centre backs in the league.
Yes.
I worry much more about the setup, and this again. I think it's really important and really good that everybody keeps mentioning Hughes and Edwards' name, because they need to be part of this conversation. But I do think that the set piece issues and the setup of the team on long throw-ins, on long balls, that is on the coaching staff. Like, I'm sorry, but that 100% is. So I think there's a massive issue there. And I think you look at Jamie Carragher's analysis on Monday Night Football of the way we're set up, and that is where it gets really difficult to see what the manager is trying to do, because just because they're short, we've seen short players be good in the air. Diogo Jota was unbelievable in the air. You don't.
Sadio Mane.
Yeah. I mean, Lucas Leiva wasn't that tall, and we used to always put him near post. He was really good in the air. So you don't have to have height. It's about, like you say, fight, seeing the danger, but also setup. And I think the setup reflects incredibly poorly on the coaching setup in this case, because if you concede the identical goal multiple times, what do the opposition think about how they can hurt you? And then you come out in the press and you say, we don't like long balls, we don't like long throw-ins. The only thing I can't get my head around that makes it even more frustrating is, why didn't we concede against a set piece against Set Piece FC in any of the times that we played them this season? It's just so confusing.
We were actually so strong at set pieces against them.
Explain that, guys. Like the most strongest set piece team I've seen in a long time. Fair play to them, right? It's like a penalty every time they get a corner. It's mad. They celebrate it like a penalty, basically, every time they get a corner or throw in, right? Yet we didn't concede anything against them in set pieces.
Our most strongest set piece performance in against them.
That's what I mean. It's mad. It's absolutely mad.
I think it connects to what Mo said. That game, I think, was the 0-0 at Highbury was the one where everybody was up for the fight.
Yeah. And
that stood out by a mile. It was a case of, right, Arsenal, if you're that good, come and beat us. And they didn't. Don't get me wrong, I don't think we went out to win it, because Slot was under so much pressure at that point. That was a do not lose this game. And I think Lola's right about this is why Slot's on a sticky wicket at the moment, is because the majority of fans tell me where we've seen an improvement.
Yeah.
And if you think about those first 7 games we won, how many of those games did we really dominate? What was there, 3 or 4 last-minute goals? If you took them away, I'd hate to think where we would be. But I just think that's Lola's point about the coaching. Has anybody seen any difference? And when you're talking about the upper managements, like the Edwards and that, what's the obsession with buying 17 and 18-year-olds at the moment?
I don't know. I think that the young players, I have a theory on that. I think they treat them as flipping houses. So they pick him up on the cheap. They gamble almost by data, pure data signings. And if they become good enough for the first team, great, they've saved money. If they don't, they flip them on for profit, Sometimes they get it wrong, like Tyler Morton, which they should never have sold. Sometimes they get it right.
Yeah, we've done this. We've done this with centre backs. Sort of, I think we've got quite a history. Like, do you remember who remembers Thiago Lorry?
Yeah.
And more recently, Vandenberg.
And we've got good luck. Yeah.
Just to name a few.
I'd have him back right now at the moment, given the situation.
Who was the fella that we thought he's the next best thing?
Keanu Hoover.
Wolves.
Yeah, that was a good shot.
But there's a guy that was on the American preseason tour. Oh gosh, awful.
Sebastian
Absolutely.
Quartz.
Sebastian Quartez. No, there's another one, but my mind's gone now. Tall, left-footed, centre-back. Oh, ball playing. I thought he reminded me of Sacco personally, but everyone had
Yeah,
such.
I know who you're talking about.
You know who I'm talking about.
It didn't end up well for him.
Someone will have it in the chat.
Oh, I know what you're on about. Is he French?
Yes.
Committee.
Yeah.
Billy Cometio.
Yeah, Billy Cometio.
Billy Cometio. So we have got a rich history. I agree, Michael. Needs must are not being addressed. Yet here we are, almost infuriating, adding fuel to the fire of the Liverpool fan base by buying 2, or is it 3 young centre backs, all under 20. What is, like, Keith, how does it make sense not to invest in what we need right now?
Tell me. Someone can, I would love, but see, this is where the sporting director needs to come, because what is the point? Have you ever thought about this? What is the point of journalists asking the manager every single time, are you interested in signing this player? We've heard that you're linked with that player, and the managers always answer in their own quirky way, you know what I mean? Funny, Pep will be, but they never answer the question. But the sporting director needs to at least answer why we're not addressing the position. Like, it doesn't have to discuss about why we're not buying a player. They don't have to disclose names, but
the problem is, Keith, right? Which other sporting director in the Premier League do we even know the names of? Like, forget interviews with them or quotes. Like, sporting directors because in this country are to be what's the phrase? Seen not heard.
No, seen not heard.
Oh no, that doesn't make sense. But we know what we mean.
Sporting director is a very new phenomenon in football, British football, right? The whole sporting director in the papers, the sporting director, Man United effectively, Amorim being sacked by the sporting director in effect, right, for opening his mouth. In fact, 2 managers got sacked for running their mouths too much about sporting directors. Like, they wield significant power in football clubs today. And for the defense situation, I think is an absolute travesty because, and it's typical of what FSG do as an organization. They always gamble. They always, like Mo said about gambling with the data and with buying centre backs and going for a flip. I also feel like they gamble with our seasons. And I sometimes feel like they look at certain seasons and they go, do you know what? The data's not matching up, so we're just going to wait till they'll get on with it.
100%. Sorry to interrupt, Keith. 100% I agree with you, because they're businessmen at the end of the day. They're not football people. And they have a successful blueprint because it's shown it's worked. So even this season where we're calling for Slot's head to go, or most fans are, they will probably stick it out because they've already got a plan and a budget for finishing outside of the top 5, because they know if they finish out of the top 5, they've got a blueprint to get us back in the top 5 within 2 years. So they've got budget already for non-Champions League, and they've got a budget for the Champions League. And they're probably going to tell Slot, right, whatever happens, if you don't get Champions League, you're out of the job. So Slot probably knows he's out of a job end of season. I just generally think FSG operate like that. Like you said, they do gamble a lot on our season.
I agree with you both on that about FSG and not taking the risks. And actually, I think that's a good point, Mo, about how they kind of just chalk it up to a loss at a certain point if they don't think we're going to achieve what they want to achieve. The reason this season is different and feels really different to me, even though there are parallels with the season after we won the league in 2021, is the investment in the summer. And by the way, I think it's really important to view it in the context of net spend. And I don't think any of you would disagree with me when we say that in every position that we signed a player, we were replacing someone. Whether you want to say we were upgrading or not, that's up for debate. But they still spent £450 million on, again, I don't think anyone's going to disagree with me, the best that was out there on the market. So the ambition was to go and win the Premier League or win the Champions League or both. So I don't necessarily think that this is the same as seasons gone by where it's been steady growth, steady growth, steady growth. They invested a lot in the summer. And I think, like you say, they're businessmen. They'll expect to see return on that investment. And a footballer's career is so short. You look at Isak, He's had his injury issues. Who knows how long his peak's going to go on for? How many chances is he going to have to win the Champions League? So I think you have to go for it with the investment that they've done this summer. I'm not saying that with any expectation that they will, but just I don't think this season is necessarily the same as seasons gone by.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a point that we get caught up in the 450 million, but not, like Lola said, talking about the net spend. We should be looking at that 450 over multiple seasons where we would buy one player or we'd get somebody in last minute and that player would be on the fringe or Klopp would get a tune out of him. But if you put it over 4 or 5 seasons, we've spent nothing.
It's actually 400 million net, spent in 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a really good stat.
That's the average. That's 40 million a year we spend, and
that's probably as much as Man City will spend between now and the end of the window.
Monthly. That's their monthly outgoings. Yeah.
We treble that. We treble that.
That's what Pep has in his hipper.
We 10 times that probably on shirt sales alone. Like, do you mean?
Yeah.
Forget match day revenue. Just shirt sales for one player. Bill, we'll probably make that. Do you mean? But yeah, you need to look at it over a prolonged period of time, not just one summer. If you look at over 10 years, I'm pretty sure I'm right. The net spend is 400 million plus.
Wow.
Michael, I want to come to you, and we're talking about sort of targets, ambitions, and sort of what our targets and ambitions are now and how it will affect the budget and where we are. And, you know, Mo was telling us about they'll have a budget for Champions League and without Champions League. How crucial is it we make Champions League next season, in your opinion?
I think the whole season rides on it. I think for the noise around us alone, I mean, how many of us know United fans? If we don't get Champions League and they do, there's going to be iPhones in the bin everywhere. Yeah, see, Lola, that's the right example. The noise will not go away because, and it's the players we bought, all that, how we eventually got Isak or how good Wirtz will be and all the rest of it. I think, and Slot needs it, because I do, like we were talking earlier on and Mo was talking about, I think we've gambled on the Champions League more than anything because we play differently in the Champions League. I think that's the key element. I think in the same way that if you ask the fan base, we're all hanging on for that. I mean, the FA Cup might be nice, but we're hanging on for that Champions League.
And this
I don't know how confident we are. This
is where I earn the big bucks that I do, because this is so beautifully segued into tomorrow. Because tomorrow, Mr. Goalmouth, we are playing Qarabag at Anfield. Now, if you had told me at the start of the campaign that we're going to be playing Qarabag at Anfield, last game of the what do you call them, group games or whatever, and it meant, or what it meant, if you asked me, I would have said, hopefully that's a game where we relax, play a few kids, play with all the squad fringe members, rest Virgil, rest Salah, rest Alisson. My God, Keith, is nothing like that tomorrow, is it? Absolutely. Or is it, in your opinion?
No, absolutely not. Tomorrow is a must-win game. You know, for all the talking up we've done of Liverpool in the Champions League this season, you know, we've had a few slip-ups along the way, none more so than what happened against PSV. And I think Liverpool players should be aware of that because, listen, Qarabag was once the butt of all meme jokes on Twitter back in the day when it was like, them days are done. These teams like Qarabag, Bodo Glimt, FC Copenhagen, like they're seasoned vets in the Champions League / Europa Leagues. And I feel like they've gotten better over the last, and this season probably we've seen a few surprise results pop up here and there. So I think we have to absolutely be on our A game because the way I'm hearing this described, I haven't watched a single Carabao game, is they are direct, they're quick, and they're ready to just be in your face. And if these players won't show up with any sort of hangover against Bournemouth, it's going to be a very difficult evening. So I'm expecting a big result. I'm expecting a big performance. And I think Arne Slot, he needs to win the crowd back. It's as simple as that. This is the perfect opportunity to win the crowd back and get everybody even a little bit back on side. So, you know, Grizz, the jeopardy is probably not as intense as to the fact that if we don't win, if we lose the game, we're still in the Champions League, we're not getting dumped out. The jeopardy maybe is not there in terms of that side of things, but there's massive jeopardy because every defeat, every time fans get that little bit more effed off with you, you just lose another chalk. So regardless of whether he survives the season or not, losing a game against Qarabağ will get chalked up against him at the end of the season. So he has to win it. Big game, huge.
Tomorrow's not the day, not the game to go with Premier League control.
Yes.
And I think and I think the Champions League feels quite open at the moment, partly because Liverpool won every game in the league phase last year, but didn't win it. That's why there's less pressure on Arsenal and Bayern Munich, because we've realised that winning the league stage doesn't guarantee you anything. So I think that's actually died down the potential banana skins, for want of a better word, or that how serious where we are could be. But tomorrow's not the game for control. It's a game to go out and just win it. Just for the minute first whistle goes, because if it's control, like Keith said, if he goes for control, the Anfield crowd will be on their back straight away, because I remember it feels like what he's done this season is change us back to doubters from believers.
Yeah.
Mo, in order for us to do all the things that Keith and Michael have said, we need to pick a team for it and be up for it. As is honorary customary on here, I go to you first with a predicted lineup so you don't copy anyone else. What is a predicted lineup look like in your head right now?
I don't even know who we've got available, but
so we know that Konate is, of course, unfortunately unavailable still. We know Joe Gomez is as expected, injured again. We know Conor Bradley's out. And I think that's it. Everyone else, barring Isak, of course, is available.
Okay, so I think Slot will do this then. He'll go Ali in goals, Frimpong, Endo, VVD, Robertson, because I think Kirkes really needs that rest for the upcoming games against Man City and Newcastle, maybe. Midfield, I'd like to think Jones starts, because he hasn't started the last couple of games, has he? So I'd like to think purely from a freshness and legs and giving everyone minutes, Jones, Wirtz and Grav. So Jones and Grav in a pivot and Wirtz. And then Dom on the right, Hugo up front, and his leather Gakpo on the left.
No Salah. I just want to remind you.
Yeah, I think Salah might get rested. Salah looked tired after 60 minutes.
Wow. Huge bombshell.
No, I probably got it wrong. I get it wrong every week. I said we were going to get smashed last week. I'll probably get it wrong. So,
Keith?
Oh, man. You know what's so funny with, like, just saying it sounds like it's reasonable. What you said, Mo, is reasonable. You know, Salah looks like he's got leg, but does Salah think it's reasonable to bench him? Because if does Slot have the courage to be able to bench him off? I don't know. The one thing, here's my hot take then. My hot take. He goes with Gravenberch at centre back.
No, Keith, you stole mine.
Sorry.
That's what I was going to say.
Go on then. We'll give
Lola, you thought the same when you saw the press conference and he's like, a midfielder's going to start. Because that's what I saw. He said a midfielder's going to start, and then he was kind of like alluding to Endo minutes because he's not played a lot of football, and I think 2 games in a row will take him out, to be honest with you.
I think you'll just look for, we talked about dear old Endo, who I love, by the way. We all love. What a player. But I think he'll look for any way to...
I don't love Endo. I love him as a person. Yeah, I don't know him personally, but I absolutely adore him as a person. I wish Endo was my friend. it seems like me and Endo would go university together.
I
for
hope you
example.
guys can go like have some sushi together or something, you know?
Yeah,
Let's-
but he's
He's
rubbish
gonna
at
make a
football.
wish. He's
I want to
making-
make it very clear. There's only a handful of players that have played for Liverpool that I think are rubbish, and I'm going to be so rude and so people will get offended because people can't take criticism of their own. You don't have to love everyone as a footballer in your club. As I said, Endo is a cult hero, but he's rubbish at football. Anyway, sorry.
I think that's
Bold.
another. We'll have to do another show all about Endo.
Yeah. There's a few make a wishes.
No, we're going to do a show on 5 players that were rubbish for Liverpool.
Yeah, for Liverpool.
Okay.
I've got a few in mind already.
But I think he's going to look for a way not to play Endo. So
Yeah.
I think
like Pierre's already. He's like, I don't want to play you at all.
and Rio, they're all locked up in the basement. But no, I think Gravenberch will start centre back for that reason, and also because of what everyone said about the way Qarabag play. I think the only way to just like in Marseille, you fight fire with fire. I don't want to see an error-strewn, sloppy game like against PSV. We have to take it seriously, but at the same time, there are probably only 3 teams in Europe that can live with Liverpool's attacking talent when they're clicking. And I don't think Qarabag are one of them. That could come back to bite me. So I'd be very much in favour of seeing an attacking lineup. I think it's a good shout about Robertson in for Kerkez. I mean, are we going to talk about the Spurs thing? You guys have probably already talked about the Spurs thing, but we definitely can't be getting rid of him. And he's going to know what it takes to be up for the occasion on a night like that. So I think Gravenberch comes into the defence for me. At the base of the midfield, Jones, I think that's a really good shout. He'll run all over the place, and again, someone who's going to be a calm head on what is a big occasion. Szoboszlai, Wirtz, and then really difficult with Mo. Let's say for sure Ekitike is playing. I don't think Mrs. Slot, aka Cody Gakpo, is going to be starting this game. He's in really poor form, and I think sometimes he benefits from coming off the bench. I don't hate him, by the way, as much as everyone else does. I think he's a good player who's been badly misused by our coach. So where does that leave us? If I go Mo, Ekitike, well, then I've got no one to bring in. So I guess I have to bring in Gakpo, but I do think he would benefit from playing from the bench. I'd love to see Rio and Gamoa start, but I can't see that happening.
Michael, the other 3 have given their hot takes. There's been a few bombers in there. Can you bring some calmness and logic to the lineup?
No, I think
what's happening?
We all expect Gakpo to play. I'm sure when they print off the team sheets, his name's already on it. And Rio's in there with his rubber from school trying to rub it out, but it's just not working. I just think it's the game to be ambitious, and we'd like to hope that was a game that Mo would turn up. But I think the shout about him not playing is a possibility, because it feels like that Slot seems to be doing this unpredictability thing, except for Gakpo, that none of the fans can buy into. So it sounds likely. I do think the Robertson bit is a fantastic shout. That would give us that, like you said, Grizz, about that defensive edge. Because especially with his legs going or whatever it is we want to chat about, he will fight for defence. As long as he doesn't do what he did in the pre-season and put Robertson as centre-back.
Oh, God.
No, he wouldn't. No, it's too big a game for that. That was only a friendly with kids. But no, I think the big question is, I think Grav will be in beside Virgil, and the question will be if Mo will play.
Yeah,
I think that's the key questions.
I can't see Mo being dropped at all, guys. You guys have enlightened me about sort of the Gravenberch theory. I do think that will happen, and that will mean Curtis Jones comes back into the team. And I think the rest of the team picks itself. Yeah, I think Robertson may start. Frimpong, Gravenberch, Virgil, Jones, Szoboszlai, McAllister, Wirtz, Ekitike, and Salah. So I think where you guys got a little bit maybe confused in your lineup, you were still thinking 4-3-3 and you couldn't think of, three strikers. But you've got to remember we've been playing
4-2-2-2
and 2 up front, yeah. So I think it's going to be Salah and Ekitike, Wirtz, Szoboszlai, Jones, McAllister.
Grizz, can I make one suggestion? Because it just occurred to me as you were talking. I think there's a chance that, I think he might even play 2 midfielders in the back line. And I think he might play Szoboszlai at right back and push Frimpong further up if he decides not to play Salah, because there isn't really anybody else that we can play on the right. So I know you don't think Salah's going to play, but if we think that Salah's not playing, who else would play? You've just said the thing about 2 forwards, but I just wonder, I could well imagine a Szoboszlai at right back diddle on a night like that.
Wow, that would be problematic, I think, in terms of the only way I can see that is if there's an issue with Frimpong's fitness.
Frimpong, yeah. I was going to say, do you know what? We're going to end up with 2 midfielders in our back line tomorrow, aren't we? At some point in the game. At some point in the game, there's going to be 2 midfielders.
We're going to have to look. We're going to have to wait for a transfer window so we can bring in players, guys. Right? Like, why doesn't the Premier League bring out a transfer window so we can? Oh, there is a transfer window. We're into the final few days of it. There is still time, Liverpool Football Club, to go and address the glaring issues. For example, Slot mentioned it today. He said, I've got no centre-back fit and available to play alongside Virgil. I don't know if that's a mixed signal, a blatant signal. What is going on at Liverpool Football Club, guys? The disconnect is alarming. I tweeted last week, there's a massive disconnect throughout the club. And in recent times, there hasn't been that. It's alarming. A couple of chats to go through. So we've got a super chat. It's banter is fine. He says, Slot probably continue playing the 4-2-2-2-2. Fullbacks holding width. He did the same with Bournemouth first half. I thought we were decent leading up to the Virgil era. Front 2, we've been decent playing through the middle in Europe. Yeah, I agree pretty much with everything that you said there. Thank you very much for the donation as well. 90x plus D says, big up everyone, hope you're all good and well. New subscriber, usually watch Grizz on the Big Six. Tomorrow we must beat Qarabağ. Thank you very much for following me from the Big Six. Guys, there's over about 2,000 watching on Twitter, 250 on YouTube, and God knows how many on Facebook and all the other platforms. Make sure you leave a nice comment for us, not for me, for these, and leave a like and subscribe if you haven't. I'm going to end it on this one. And Lola, this is addressed to you. It's not, but I'm addressing it to you. I'm a big fan of Grizz, not that part. I'm a neutral fan. Why are you guys so hyped about Xabi Alonso? He's not that good. Trust me. And the reason why I address that to you is because you are his biggest fan.
I don't know if I'm his biggest fan, but he is one of my heroes, Xabi. And my mum actually, when I was a kid, she saw him in the street and stopped him and got me an autograph. And he stopped and came over for a chat and was absolutely lovely. So bless Xavi. What a lovely man. He is good. I don't think there's any denying that he's good. You don't go unbeaten for a season in Germany and turn Leverkusen into a winning machine if you're not a good manager. But I do think that some people over the last few weeks have raised doubts about his style of play and whether his style of play would be quite similar to Slot with an emphasis on control. But I think Sam Maguire, I don't know if you guys are aware of him, Liverpool journo, or is he Patrick Bateman? Because that's what his profile picture would suggest.
Very good friend of the show. Sam probably be watching and he will probably mention it as well. But sorry, go on.
He pointed out about Xabi's tactics with Sociedad B and how they played a very aggressive pressing style of football and was kind of saying that, he's not wedded to a style of play like a Ruben Amorim, that he will come in and assess the squad and work out a style of play. So he made history with Sociedad B. He made history with Leverkusen. He's clearly not a bad manager. And I think concerns about the playing style, his work at Sociedad suggests that he's capable of playing that attacking style. So I have no doubts about him.
Hope that answers your question, Axel, or however you pronounce your name. I'm so sorry if I butchered it. Keith, prediction.
It's a tough one, isn't it?
You've been wrong like majority of every week. You know, you need to get one right. Like you haven't been right at all because you predict 4-0 wins every week.
No, I was right about the Marseille game. You didn't ask me about
Okay. Yeah.
It's a tough one, isn't it? No, I think my prediction of the game is the difference between the Marseille game and this one is I just don't like physically how we're going into this. But I reckon it's going to be 2-2 draw.
Oh, Emil Heskey agrees with you, and this is actually Emil Heskey.
And we're going to, and it will be we'll go 2 up as well.
Whoa!
So,
Oh, Keith, your man's gone then. If that happens,
by the way, just to make everyone fully aware that the next 3 games are at home. That for me will tell a lot. I think will tell a lot. Where will he be by the final whistle of the Man City game? Where will the crowd be with him? That is all televised, all live. Wow, it's got a big couple of weeks ahead.
The rest of you, I need a very quick and just one word or one sentence prediction. Don't know why Keith went on forever there. Prediction, Lola?
3-1.
So
You said just give the score.
No, that's completely fine. I'm just confirming to Liverpool.
3-1 to Liverpool, yeah. I
You
think it'll be
still
like
know
really,
this.
really close until like
Gotta make sure.
until
Gotta
the
make sure.
80th minute, and then we'll score a third to make it more comfortable. It's not going to be pretty. It'll be like the Barnsley game.
Michael?
Yeah, I think 3-1 as well. I fully expect them to score first to give everybody a shake, because that's what always happens. They'll get a chance in the first 5 minutes, and we'll all be hiding behind our hands, and then suddenly they'll remember that they can play football, and they'll start to do something.
Well,
So 3-1 us.
3-2 Liverpool, but we're definitely conceding from corners.
interesting. Liverpool have to win because I need a shave badly. Otherwise, I'm not coming out of the house for another week. Liverpool have to win tomorrow. That's all that counts. We must. There is absolutely no possibility of even thinking about anything apart from a win, which will mean we finish in a position where we get home advantage in the latter rounds, in the second leg, which means, that's advantageous especially for a team like us and a club like us. Guys, time has flown. Thank you very much, as usual, to the panel. Michael, a very, very amazing debut.
Thanks very much.
I will give results of who made the better debut out of you and Lola on the next episode. But as usual, Mo and Keith, thank you very much for your valuable input. You have all guys been amazing. The people in the chat, no trolling, no abuse, such knowledge, probably much more knowledge than us. But thank you very much for your participation. And we watch Liverpool play football tomorrow. Let's see how it goes. Peace, love, and tranquility to you all. This has been The Red Room. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.